perpendicular direction and the area vector is also pointing in a perpendicular direction. So they both become parallel, that is angle between area vector and the field. Another situation, if we double the dimensions of the box but will keep the same amount of charge, that is the flux, across the given surface area in a perpendicular direction, then those field lines will be called as the electric flux. Then those will be called as the flux passing through the given surface area. Here you can see that these field lines are crossing this given surface area in a perpendicular direction. So all the field lines will about the flux. What the flux is? The term flux implies some kind of a flow, that is something which is flowing through a given surface will be called as a flux. Let us try to understand the concept of this flux with the help of the path of the light. How the path of the light will be followed if it is passing through a planar surface. Let us see here. Here we are having, this is a planar surface, and if it is a source of light is kept somewhere else so that the light is passing through this planar surface, we will call that in a perpendicular direction. See here, the path of the light is in perpendicular direction, so we will call it that something is passing through the given area, which is called as a flux. Now if we keep on rotating this area vector, now we'll keep on rotating this area, planar area, we find that the amount of intensity of light which crosses this given area is reducing and then it is increasing. For some time it is reducing, for particular orientation it is reducing, and then again it is increasing. That means it keeps on changing its intensity. That is what it is called as the flux. The amount of something which passes through a given area is called as the flux. Now let us try to understand this in terms of the path of the field lines. For the field lines, let us see, if we are having this is a planar surface, and in the space it is orienting in the space, and in space we are having some field lines as well. Now if these field lines will cross the given surface area in a perpendicular direction, then those field lines will be called as the electric flux. Then those will be called as the flux passing through the given surface area. Mind it here, whatever field lines are crossing the given surface area in a perpendicular direction, only those field lines will be called as the flux. As you can see here, only one field line is passing through this given surface area. So this one will be only called as the flux. Rest of the field lines will remain as the field lines. They will not be contributing towards the flux. But see here, if we increase the surface area, more field lines are crossing the given area in a perpendicular direction. So more is the flux associated with this figure, and these field lines will constitute the electric flux. Now I hope the meaning of flux will clear to you. That means something which flows through the particular area. So here the field lines are flowing or crossing through a given surface area, so they are called as the electric flux. Next, let us try to understand the theoretical meaning of the electric flux. What is the flux? First of all, as I have told you, it is the property of any vector field. Flux will always be associated with a vector field, and electric flux is the property of electric field. Here electric field is a vector. So electric flux will be the property of the electric field. As I have told you, what will be the electric flux? The electric field lines that will be crossing a given area in a perpendicular direction, then those field lines will constitute the electric flux. Now it is a scalar quantity and it could be the positive or negative. Mind it, the electric flux is the property of a vector field, but it itself is a scalar quantity. So let us try to depict this figure. Now suppose we are having delta S is the area vector. Suppose this is an area vector which is held in a space, and certain electric field lines, this is shown by the red lines. So these electric field lines, if they are crossing the given surface area in a perpendicular direction, then we constitute a quantity which is denoted by delta phi, that is equals to the E delta S. That is, this formula we will be deriving in later articles, but let us see how to represent the electric fluxes. The field lines that cross the given surface area in a perpendicular direction, then they constitute the electric flux. Here you can see that these field lines are crossing this given surface area in a perpendicular direction. So all the field lines will be contributing towards the electric flux. You can watch it here carefully. These field lines which crosses the given surface area in a perpendicular direction will constitute the flux. Next, now as I told you, it could be the positive and the negative flux. Now let us concentrate on the types of the flux. First, we will concentrate on the positive flux. When the positive flux, the flux is going to be from inside to the outside, we call that as a positive flux. Let us see, try to understand this with the help of a figure. That is something which is going from inside to outside. How it is possible? Let us suppose if we are having a box containing a certain charge. Let us say this charge is plus positive charge. If a positive charge is enclosed in a container, we know that its field lines will always be pointing away from it. That is, if it is contained in a container, the field lines will be passing from inside to outside, and these field lines will be constituting the flux because these field lines will be crossing the given surface area in a perpendicular direction. So all these field lines due to a positive charge will contribute towards a positive flux. Now let us depict the second figure. Now if we double the enclosed charge, will doubles the flux. That means if in the same container, if we double the amount of the charge, that is this time, now we are having twice of the previous charge, so more of the field lines will be crossing the given area. So we will say that the flux has doubled itself. It has become twice of the previous case. That is, the magnitude of the flux depends on the amount of charge enclosed. And for a positive flux, positive charge must be enclosed in a container. Then the flux which is pointing from inside to outside, that will be called as a positive flux. Now let us see another figure. By doubling the box dimensions does not change the flux. In another situation, if we double the dimensions of the box but will keep the same amount of charge, that is the plus q inside the box, so the field lines that are associated with this plus q charge will remain the same as in the first case. So there will be no change in the flux although we have changed the dimensions. So it is independent of the dimensions of the box. It just depends on the magnitude of the charge which is present inside the box. So in a nutshell, which type of the field lines will contribute towards the positive flux? The field lines that are going from inside to the outside of a given area will constitute towards the positive flux. Next, let us see the negative flux. If it is going from outside to the inside, then that will be called as a negative flux. Let us see with the help of a figure. Now, if in a container we will enclose a negative charge, we know that due to a negative charge, the electric field lines are pointing towards the charge. That means all the field lines will be entering from outside to inside. So all these field lines will be contributing towards the negative flux. Similarly, if we double the amount of the charge present in a container of same dimension, then the flux will also be doubled. So flux will also get doubled. So here the flux will get doubled. So similar situation also prevail for it. If we double the dimension of the box keeping the same amount of charge, it will not affect the flux. So the flux just depends on the magnitude of the charge which is present inside the container. Now let us see, there are the certain conditions of zero flux also. So we have seen positive flux, negative flux. Now let us concentrate on when we will be having a condition of zero flux. When we are having a container and inside the container there is no electric field, that means there is no charge present inside the container. In that situation we will say that there is no flux associated because there are no field lines to cross the given area. Next, second situation, if we are having the certain amount of charge is present inside the container, but the necessary condition is that the same amount of positive as well as the same amount of negative charge should be present so that the total charge present inside the container becomes zero. Then also we will be having a condition of a zero flux. Why is it so? Because due to a positive charge, whatever the field lines will be leaving the surface, the same field lines will be entering the surface due to the negative q charge since their magnitude are same. So this particular situation will contribute towards the zero flux. Next, let us see the third situation where we can have the zero flux when the source of the charge, here this is the source of the charge which is present outside the container. So now this source of the charge will be sending its electric field in a direction, and whatever field lines will be entering the box through one phase, the same field lines will have to leave the box from the other surface. That means this condition will also contribute towards the zero flux condition because whatever field lines are entering the box will leave the box. So again the net flux associated with this container will be the zero. So there are the three different situations when no charge is present, when equal and opposite magnitude of the same amount and equal opposite magnitude are present in the box, and when the source of the charge is present outside the box, in such situations we will be having the condition of zero flux. Now let us see flux through an open surface. The electric flux through a given area held inside an electric field is the measure of total number of electric lines of force passing normally through that area. So I have told you how we can define the electric flux. It is the amount of the electric lines of force that are passing normally through a given area will constitute the flux. Let us see for an open surface with the help of a diagram. Now let us suppose if delta S is a given area held in a space and E is the electric field lines that are crossing this surface at an arbitrary angle theta to it. That means the electric field lines are making an angle theta with the area vector. Now let us see here, if theta is the angle between the normal drawn to the area vector and the electric field. Here the important point to be noted is the angle theta. Here first we have to represent this area as an area vector. So as I have already told you how we can represent this delta S area as an area vector by drawing a normal perpendicular to it pointing in an outward direction. That means this n cap will be the area vector representing the area in this direction. So now theta should be the angle between the electric field and the area vector, not the area itself. Mind it here, theta has to be the angle between the normal drawn to the area vector and the electric field. So here if this is the theta, so now we have to resolve the electric field into its component forms. So as we know that this, since E is a vector, it can be resolved in its component form. One will be along the base, that is called as E cos theta, and the another one will be along the perpendicular direction along the y direction, and this one will be called as the E sin theta. Now out of these two components, the E cos theta component is pointing in a perpendicular direction to the area surface. See here, E cos theta is crossing the, only this component E cos theta is crossing the given surface area in a perpendicular direction. So only this E cos theta will be contributing towards the electric flux. So now one formula we have derived. Now once this field lines will be crossing the surface area, now they will constitute the quantity called as flux. And this flux is denoted by symbol phi. Plus phi E, which will be equals to the E cos theta. What is E cos theta? It is the those components that are crossing the surface area in a perpendicular direction only. We have to neglect the E sin theta components of the electric field into the area, that is with whatever area the field lines are crossing, that area we have to multiply. Now we know that since this E is a vector and area also we have represented as an area vector with the help of this normal vector. So it will be called as a dot product of two vectors, that is delta phi is the E dot ds. It is the vector product of dot product of two vectors that is called as a flux through an open surface. Now what is open surface? I have told you the open surface is simply a planar surface, which is a planar surface are two normal vectors, one in the positive direction and the other one in the negative direction. Also we can associate a vector. So the flux associated with the planar surface will be always with the E vector, a dot product of E dot ds, since these two are the vector. Now next we have the flux through a closed surface. Now how to depict the closed surface? Let us see here. This is a closed surface. As I have told you earlier, a closed surface cannot be represented by a single normal vector. So for that, what we have to do, the number of area elements become infinitely large, and that is the small area elements we have to take. So in order to represent a closed surface area, we have to take the small amount of area elements. So each area element will have its own normal vector. I have told you in my previous slide also when I was explaining the area vector concept. In that I have told you, whenever we are dealing with the closed surface, so the entire surface has to be divided into infinitesimally small area elements, and each area element will have its own normal vector. So for simplicity, let us see. We are dealing with ds1. We have taken a simple area ds1 whose normal vector is pointing in this direction, and the electric field is making an angle theta with the normal vector. Here again, theta is the angle between the normal vector. So in that case, what we have to do, we have to integrate the d phi element, that is flux element, for each of the area element passing through the area element, and on integrating that we will get the expression phi is the integration of E dot ds. For the planar surface, in the previous case, what we have seen for an open surface, we got the relation phi E is equals to the simple E dot ds. But when we are dealing with the closed surface, the formula for the flux will become integration of E dot ds. Here we have to do the integrate, that is we have to sum up the E dot ds product for all the entire surface elements. Now see here, you can also see for each area element, the area element for this closed figure, the each surface area, that is area element and the normal vector have been shown like that. So we have to integrate the individual area elements. So for a closed, entirely for a closed surface, we can represent the flux by this formula. So hence the total flux is equal to the integral of d phi over that entire surface, which we write as an integral over that closed surface of E dot ds. So for a closed surface, we are having the formula of integration of E dot ds, and for the open surface, we are having simply the E dot ds. And the SI unit of flux will be the Newton per Coulomb meter square. How we have got this? We know that flux is the product of electric field and the area. So electric field is represented by Newton per Coulomb and area is represented by meter square. So the SI unit of the electric flux will become Newton per Coulomb meter square, and it will be a scalar quantity. It is a dot product of two vectors, so it will be a scalar quantity. Now let us see maximum and minimum flux. There are certain conditions of the maximum and minimum flux. So first of all, we will see the conditions of maximum flux. Let us try to understand these conditions. For that, the area is held perpendicular to the field line. Then the flux will become maximum. Let us see how it is that. See, we are having, this is the planar surface area, that is the ds is the planar surface area. The electric field lines are crossing perpendicular to it. So what we are having, area is also held perpendicular to the electric field. But area vector, see here, this is the area vector. This area vector is parallel to the field lines. Here they have to be these two keywords have to be kept in mind while dealing with the condition of maximum flux. Area is perpendicular to electric field, area is perpendicular to the electric field lines, then the direction of area vector will become parallel to the field lines, because area vector is always drawn perpendicular to the given surface area. So in this situation, area vector is also perpendicular to the given area, as well as field lines are also perpendicular to the given area. So what we have, angle between the direction of area vector and the field line will become 0 degree. So by using the formula for a planar surface, that is E dot ds, we have to expand this formula. So we will got EDS, we will get EDS cos theta, and cos 0 degree will become 1, because here theta we have to put it as a 0 degree, which is the angle between the area vector and the field lines. So the electric flux is going to be the EDA, which is the maximum flux will be passing through the given area. Now you can visualize this given situation here. See here the field lines are crossing the given area in a perpendicular direction, and the area vector is also pointing in a perpendicular direction. So they both become parallel, that is angle between area vector and the field lines becomes 0 degree. In that situation, we will be having a condition of maximum flux. I hope this particular situation will become clear to you. Next, we have the conditions of minimum flux. Now what will be the conditions of minimum flux? When the area is held parallel to the field lines, the flux will be the minimum. Let us see how it is that. If this is the area, this is the simple area, the field lines are crossing this. So in the field lines are parallel. So here area is held parallel to the field line. So here along the, you can see positive x-axis. Here along the positive x-axis, the field lines are passing, and the area is also held along the positive x-axis. So what we will say, area is held parallel to the field lines, but this time the area vector will be pointing along the positive y direction, because area vector is always perpendicular to the given surface area in an outward direction. So area vector will be in the positive y direction. The field lines are along the x direction. So what we will be having, we are having that the angle between the angle between the area vector and the field lines is 90 degree. So again in the formula, that is phi is equals to E dot ds, what we can have on expanding this formula, E ds cos 90 degree we have to keep. Why? Because area vector is along y-axis and field lines are along the x-axis. So in that situation, angle becomes 90 degree and cos 90 degree is 0. So no electric flux will be there, as no field lines will be crossing this. They will pass over the surface, but they will not cross the surface in a perpendicular direction. You can visualize the situation here. See, If we are having the area is held along the x-axis, field lines are also along the x-axis. So field lines are just passing over the surface, they are not crossing the surface, and area vector is held perpendicular to this. So in that situation, angle between area vector and the field lines is 90 degree. So again the flux associated will become 0. No electric field line will cross the surface, they are just passing over the surface and under the surface, but they will not cross the surface in a perpendicular direction. So this is the condition of a minimum flux. Next, let us see, we are having an arbitrary value of flux also, that is neither the maximum nor the minimum flux is there. In which situation we are having, if electric field E passes at an angle theta through an area element, that electric flux through this area will be, the general formula is in this case will be, neither it is perpendicular nor parallel to the given area at an arbitrary angle. So here the area is held in a space. These are the field lines and the area vector is pointing somewhat at suppose 45 degree to the x-axis. So here we are having a certain angle, an arbitrary value of angle is there between the normal vector, area vector and the electric field line. So in that situation our formula will become E dot ds, that is E cos theta delta s, and here for the theta we have to put the particular value which will be given in the question. If theta is 45 degree, we have to use cos 45 degree. If theta becomes 30 degree, we have to use cos 30 degree. And if theta is minded here, theta is the angle between the normal area vector and normal vector and the electric field lines, not the area and the electric field lines, normal vector and the electric field lines. Then this one will become our formula. Next, how to interpret the flux. Now let us see, let us visualize the situation how we can interpret. Here, conditions of maximum flux, field lines are crossing, minimum flux where the area will become parallel to the field line, and it is an arbitrary position of the area where the field lines are crossing. So these are the conditions of maximum, minimum and the neither maximum nor. Again you can watch it carefully. And hence these will contribute towards the zero flux situation. So what is the condition of zero flux situation? That is how we have to divide this entire closed surface into different area elements. Now let us see through each area element how the flux will be associated with each of them. And cos 90 degrees 0. So in this situation the flux comes out to be the 0 degree. So what we will notice is for the second type of the situation, add them, we are going to get the net flux coming out to be the 0. That is what we are having, field lines passing to the right. Let's learn more about the topic electric flux. Previously also I have explained the topic. In my previous video I have explained the certain concepts of electric flux. Here I have told you the analogy of flux, how to relate this with the path of the light. Next I have explained the theoretical derivation of the electric flux. Next I have told you the certain conditions of the maximum and minimum flux. Let us watch the first given surface area in a perpendicular direction, then those field lines will be called as the electric flux. Then those will be called as the flux passing through the given surface. Here you can see that these field lines are crossing this given surface area in a perpendicular direction. So all the field lines will be in a perpendicular direction and the area vector is also pointing in a perpendicular direction. So they both become parallel, that is angle between area vector and the field lines become. So there what we have seen, conditions of maximum and minimum flux. Now let's learn more about the electric flux. Certain important key points now we will be concentrating on. Now what are the key points? There are the certain factors on which the flux depends, amount of the flux depends. What are they? First is the area. How it depends on area we will be learning later on. Next is the rotation of area, that if the plane is rotated at some angle, what will be the value of the flux, or the how the amount of the flux will be varying. Next, last factor on which the electric flux depends is the density of the electric fields. If they are denser, what will be the flux, and if they are rarer, what will be the flux. So let us learn all the key points in detail. So the first is we are dealing with the larger the area, the more field lines will pass through it and hence greater is the flux. Let us analyze this situation. So here what we are having, this is the given area, surface area, and these are the electric field lines that are crossing the flux. If we increase or decrease the given area, let us see what will be the effect on the flux. So here we are first decreasing the area. So what we are finding, the flux associated is lesser. Now if we increase the area, more the field lines are crossing, so more will be the flux associated with it. I think from this figure it will be clear, larger the area, larger will be the electric field lines crossing, so they will be contributing towards the more flux. Lesser the area, less field line, so lesser will be the flux. Now next is the second key point. What is the second key point? It is the amount, that is the plane is rotated at certain angle. So at one particular angle, none line will pass through it and there will be no flux. So let us analyze this situation. Here what we are noticing, this time we will not change the area of this given figure. Instead we will rotate this. We will change the area of that is planar rotation, area of rotation, that is how it is rotated in the space. Let us observe this. If it is at this particular stage, no field line will be crossing. Now if it is inclined perpendicular to the field line, all the field lines will be crossing the given area. That is how on the plane of rotation the amount of electric field lines crossing the area depends, and hence the flux associated also depends on the area of rotation of the figure. So whenever the plane is perpendicular to the given field lines, maximum will be the flux. If the area is aligned along the field lines, if the plane is aligned with the field lines, no field line will be passing, none field will be passing, and there will be no flux associated with it. Now the third factor is stronger the field line. That means denser the field lines, the closer the field lines are, greater will be the flux. Here we will not be changing the orientation, neither we will be changing the area of the figure, but this time they will be changing the field lines. Let us observe this here. This time, now let us see here that field lines are getting rarer, that is less field line will be crossing. Now the field lines are getting denser, so more field lines will be crossing the given surface area. Here again, more the field lines, denser the field line, more is the flux, rarer are the field lines, less will be the flux. So this is how the flux depends on these certain factors. Now next, let us have certain knowledge test how to deal with such problems of the electric flux. Now the very first is the general case is that why the flux through a closed spherical surface is independent of the radius of the surface. It is the most obvious question that is being asked in the exam, that is the flux is independent of the surface area, the chosen surface area. Let us depict one situation. If we have a plus q charge present in a space and it is enclosed by different surface areas. First is a spherical surface of radius r1. Next we are having another spherical surface of radius r2. Or let us suppose the same charge q is enclosed by a sphere of radius r, and the same charge is enclosed by another sphere of radius having the 2r. So let us see what will be the flux crossing these surface areas will depend. So these the flux crossing this surface area will be independent of the radius of the. It doesn't mean if more is the radius of the given surface area, more will be the flux. That is the misconception that generally students develop, that it depends on the surface area. If we increase the surface area, flux will increase. It is not the case. The strategy that we have to follow it is that we have to look at the electric field lines. Now we know that by the definition of the flux, the electric flux just depends on the field lines. And we know that these field lines are the characteristics of the source charge. So here whether we are dealing with this first figure or whether we are dealing with this second figure, in both the figure if same amount of the charge q is enclosed, here what we notice, same amount of charge q is enclosed, that means the electric field lines will remain the same in both the figures, and those same electric field lines will be crossing the surface area of radius r1 as well as the surface area of radius r2. It hardly gets affected by the presence of the surface area, whether it is more or a lesser one. So here what we notice is that every field line from Q that pierces the surface at radius R1 also pierces the surface at R2. That means whatever field lines are crossing the R1, they will cross the R2, and these field lines only contribute towards the flux. So the flux associated with R1 and R2 will remain the same. So the flux through a closed spherical surface is independent of the radius chosen here. So what we are noticing, the net number of electric field lines. So this will be the most probable answer that you have to write for this particular question. The net number of field lines passing through the two surfaces from inside to outside direction is equal, and hence the flux will remain the same. It hardly depends on the amount of the surface area. Similarly, in this figure, what we are noticing, flux to the spherical surface of radii r and 2r enclosing a charge q are equal, that is, it is independent of the size of the surface. So whatever the field lines will pass this dA surface will also, if we increase the surface area, here in this figure we are noticing that now we have increased the surface area to 4 times of the previous case, but the field lines will remain the same. Field lines have not been quadrupled, that is, they are not being increased. So the flux will remain the same whether we increase 10 times or 4 times or 16 times the area. It is independent of the radius of the given surface. Now, next type of the question, if no charges are included within a closed surface, then the electric flux through it must be the zero. This is another conceptual type of question. If no charge is present within the closed surface, then the flux must be the zero. Now let us depict this situation. Here what we are noticing is that if plus q charge is situated in a space and we are having an enclosed surface area as at some distance from it, whatever this source charge q will be emerging its own field lines in the space, and they will be pointing in, they will be crossing the given surface area. So here what we are noticing, whatever field lines are crossing the given surface area dA1, they are passing out from the dA2 also. That is, a typical field line that enters the surface at dA1 leaves at dA2. Every line that enters the surface must also leave that surface. Hence, net flow of the field lines into or out of the surface is 0. So whatever field lines are entering of one particular area of the given area element, the same field is and leaving the another surface area element of the given surface area. So whatever is entering, whatever number of field lines are entering, the same number are escaping the given surface area, and hence these will contribute towards the zero flux situation. So what is the condition of zero flux situation? Where the source of charge is situated outside the given surface area. Now there is another situation if the charge is enclosed within the surface area, but this time we are having two equal and opposite charges. That is, if we have the charges of equal and opposite sign are included inside the closed surface, the total charge included is 0. And in terms of the electric field lines, what we will depict, this plus charge, positive charge, whatever field lines it will be sending out of the surface, the same electric field lines will be entering due to the negative charge because it is of the same magnitude. So again here the situation is, if the same magnitude or two equal and opposite charges are enclosed in a surface, the electric flux associated with the surface will be the 0. That is the net concluding point. In these two situations, the net flux will be the 0. Now, next we will be dealing with the electric flux with the closed surface. Now we will deal with the particular situation here. What will be the magnitude or how the flux will be varying for a closed surface. Now here we know that if we are having a closed surface, earlier also I have told you that it cannot be shown by a single area element, although the field lines are crossing through a closed surface in this particular direction. So the direction of field line is fixed, but the different area elements out of this closed figure we have to take. So we have taken one area element, first element, which is represented by this figure, first one. We have taken another area element, second, which is represented by this figure, and we have taken a third area element which is represented here. What we are noticing is that for a closed surface, by convention, the area vectors are perpendicular to the surface at each point and they are pointing outward. So for every area element, the surface area element, that is surface area vector, is pointing in different directions, but the electric field will remain the same for all the planar surfaces. That is how we have to divide this entire closed surface into different area elements. Now let us see through each area element how the flux will be associated with each of them. So for the case 1, here what we are having in the case 1, so it is the enlarged figure. In case 1, what we are noticing, we have taken this figure. So in this, if we will draw the concentrate on the field lines, we are noticing the electric field is pointing along, suppose this is the x-axis. So if electric field line is passing along the x-axis, here we have taken the positive x-axis. So if we will draw one perpendicular here, so what we will notice is that the area vector delta A1. So area vector, if we will point, it will be pointing in the xy plane. So here this, you have to keep this in mind. The direction of the area vector will be in somewhere in the xy plane, although angle is not known, but let us suppose theta is the angle which with the electric field vector and the area vector makes with each other. Okay, so what we are having, theta is the angle between the electric field and the area vector. So this time theta will be less than the 90 degree, and if we will substitute, if we will go for the formula for the electric flux, we know that for an open surface it is E dot of dA, where they are the vectors, and if we will open this dot product, we will get EDA, and here this time we will get cos theta. And value of theta for angles less than 90 degree is always be a positive. So in such a situation where theta is 90 degree, the flux will be the positive quantity. That means when the field lines are crossing the surface from inside to the outside, here the field lines are crossing surface from inside to the outside. Here we are noticing they are pointing from inside to the outside. You have to keep this in mind. This is a very important point. Whenever the field lines, in the previous video also I have told you, field lines are passing from inside to outside, that flux will be the positive quantity. Now let us see the second case. In second case, what we are noticing, this is the second case. If we will look for the enlarged figure, again let us suppose the electric field is pointing along the x-axis, electric field vector, and if we will draw one perpendicular, this is one y-axis. So here what we are noticing, electric field vector is along the positive x-axis, and area vector, that is this dA2 area vector is pointing along the y-axis. Although it is negative y-axis, let us take negative y. So what we will notice is that the theta is the angle between the area vector and the electric field, and this comes out to be the 90 degree. So in such a situation, what we are observing is that the electric field lines just graze the surface. So here what we are having, the electric field lines are not crossing, they are grazing the surface, over the surface, they are passing over through the surface like that. Is it clear? So for angle theta equals to, so in this situation, whenever they just graze the surface, theta becomes 90 degree, and if we will put this in the formula, again the same formula, E dot of dA, and on expanding, what we will get, the formula comes out to be the EDA of cos 90 degree, and cos 90 degree is 0, so none electric flux will be associated, that is flux associated will be 0 in such a situation when the field lines just graze the surface or theta becomes 90 degree. Here one thing you have to keep this in mind, by carefully observing the figure, the area is held parallel to the field line, but area vector is at 90 degree. This situation very clearly I have explained in my previous video. If area is parallel to the field line, the area vector will become perpendicular to the field line and flux associated will become 0. Next, let us see the case number 3. In case number 3, that is this figure. That is at the area element 3, if we will notice, what we will notice, the electric field lines are moving from outside towards the inside. This is the key point. Here what we are having, what we are noticing, the field lines are crossing the surface from outside to inside. And in my previous video also I have already told you, whenever the field lines are passing from outside to inside, that flux, that type of the field lines will contribute towards the negative flux. Let us see how it is happening, how it is possible. Again, let us have a closer look of this area. Again, let us suppose if electric field is along the positive x-axis, if it is pointing along the x-axis, the area vector is pointing, I will draw some, it is like that much. So this time the area vector, that is this delta E3, will be pointing along, this is the y-axis, and this time it is the z-axis. It is pointing along the YZ plane. So it is pointing in the YZ plane. So we know that this time the angle theta, which is the angle between the electric field vector and the area vector, becomes obtuse angle. It is an obtuse angle. That means that the value of theta will be lying somewhere between 90 to 180 degree. This is the important key point. So whenever the field lines are entering the surface, that is from outside to inside they are traveling. So in such a situation, if we will go for the flux formula, that again becomes E dot A, that is this time if we will be having EA of cos theta, and for the obtuse angle theta, that is for the values of theta between 90 to 180 degree, its value is always negative, that is the flux associated will become negative. So whenever theta lies between 180 to 90 degree, the flux associated will be negative. This is an important key point. In this situation, the field lines are crossing from outside to inside. In the area number 1, the field lines are passing from inside to outside, that is to be kept in mind. And for the area element second figure, they are just grazing the surface, that is they are just crossing the surface. So they are the different situations for which we have to deal with. Next, we have the problem solving strategies. Let us see how we can solve the problems involving the flux. So wherever flux will be. So let us see what is the first situation. A constant electric field of magnitude E naught. Here it is given as E naught. This is an arbitrary value, no fixed value magnitude is given. So we have to deal with only the value as E naught. points in the direction of the positive z-axis. So what is our first strategy is to look at the figure very carefully, and we have to find the electric flux. We have to find the electric flux. That means in order to know the electric flux, we must know the direction of electric field and the direction of the area vector. This is the two important key points we have to keep in mind. Electric field. So according to our figure, here the electric field is E0 and its direction is along the positive z-axis. So this is to be fixed, taken to be as a fixed. That is our first strategy. Next, we have an area, rectangle of sides A and B, which is lying in the XY plane. So our first situation is for the XY plane. So here what we are finding, so this area element AB is lying in the XY plane. So what we are noticing, area is lying in the XY plane. This is again important key point. Area is lying in the XY plane, and if we will draw area vector that is perpendicular to this given XY plane, the area vector will be pointing along the, this time it will be pointing along the z-axis. This is along the z-axis. So here what we are noticing, this is the area vector and this is the electric field vector. That is angle between the area vector and the electric field vector, it becomes 0 degree. That is they are parallel to each other. Two things again you have to keep in mind. Here electric field is along z-axis, area is along the xy plane, and area vector is along the z-axis, so angle becomes 0 degree. So now in solving, so again we have to apply the definition of the flux. So on applying the definition of the flux, what we will get, the flux is E naught dA. So here if we will solve it, flux becomes E naught dot product of area vector and dot product, this time it will open, we will get E naught A of cos 0 degree. And we know that the value of cos 0 degree is 1. So it becomes E naught. What is the area? Area is the A into B, that is length into breadth. So this is the value of the flux that we will get for the plane which is lying in the XY plane. So this is the given area, it is lying in the XY plane. So this one will be the flux associated for the first answer, that is when the area lies in the XY plane. Now let us see for the second situation. And that is when the area lies in the XZ plane. Let us depict the situation. For that we have to assume this is the area which is lying in this XZ plane. So this one will be the area which is lying in the XZ plane. So for this area element also, the electric field is pointing along the z-axis. So for the second situation, now let us see for the second situation also what we are having. The electric field vector is pointing along the z-axis. This time the area we have taken along the XZ plane. Keeping this in mind, here they have said that the rectangle is lying in the XZ plane. So here it is lying in the XZ plane. So what will be the area vector in this situation? Area vector has to be perpendicular to the given area plane, planar area. So the axis perpendicular to XZ plane will become out to be the y-axis. So this time area vector will be pointing along the y-axis, and this is the electric field vector. So here what we are noticing, electric field is along z-axis, area vector is along y-axis. Again the angle between them, electric field and area vector, we have to find it out. That is the third strategy in solving. First we have looked for the direction of electric field vector, we have checked the direction of area vector. Now we have to go for the angle between them, and this time angle between them comes out to be the 90 degree. So if we will put in the equation, flux equation, that is E dot of area vector this is, and if we will open up we will get EA cos 90 degree, and cos 90 degree is 0. So in this situation the flux comes out to be the 0 degree. So what we will notice is for the second type of the situation, here the direction of area vector is either along positive y-axis or towards the negative y-axis. So here if we have taken this is as the area vector, this is the area, so its area vector can, if we are dealing towards the right hand side, it will be the positive y-axis, and if we are dealing towards the left hand side, it will become minus y-axis. So both directions are possible. This is for the open planar area surface. I have told you two possible directions the area vector can point. Then either of the cases the angle comes out to be the 90 degree. Therefore the scalar product of electric field with area vector comes out to be the 0 degree, 0 giving us the 0 flux. So what is the significance of such type of questions? The relative directions of electric field and area can cause the flux through the area to be the 0. So it is not, the value of the flux is not always fixed. See here, the value of electric field is fixed, the value of area is fixed, but the value of flux depends on the relative orientation of area with respect to the electric field. In different orientations, the flux associated will be varying depending on the angle at which the area is to be kept with respect to the electric. Let us see another question. Here in this question we are having a uniform electric field of magnitude 10 Newton per Coulomb is directed along YZ plane. So here the direction already is fixed. This time not a particular axis, but this time the electric field is pointing in this YZ plane. It is in the YZ plane at 30 degree above the XY plane. So here, so it is making an angle of 30 degree. Now the plane is lying in the, here the plane is lying in the ZX plane. Here the plane is in the ZX plane. What is the electric flux through a plane surface of area? Area, particular magnitude is given this time. Particular magnitude of the electric field is also given in this time. Previous question it was not there. And they are located in the XZ plane. So this time what we have to look for? Direction of electric field which is along the YZ plane. And this time we have to look for the area is kept in the XZ plane. So what we are having, its area vector will be pointing XZ plane. So area vector will be pointing along the y-axis. Area vector will be pointing along the normal vector. It will be pointing and when points along the positive y direction. So these are the certain key points that you have to keep in mind. Direction of electric field, area in which it is placed, the plane in which the area is placed, and its corresponding area vector. Now it will be easier for you to find the angle, as the angle given is, that is between electric field and normal vector, it is already given as 30 degree. So now the only thing we have to put in the flux, that is flux comes out to be the again E dot A, that is equals to the E dot A product. This time the entire surface area element is divided into small area elements. So we have to calculate for a smaller, that is d phi is equals to the E dot dA. That is what we have to keep it. And if we keep on integrating the entire flux for the smaller area elements, we are going to get, so which formula we will be using? Using the surface integral of E dot normal vector and area, that is dA. That is for smaller area element, first we will compute, then for second, for third, like that number of area elements will be there. So we will compute the individual fluxes and then we will sum up. So they are nothing but this time what we have having that the magnitude of electric field and the area vector, they are fixed. This time what we are having, the magnitude. So now the angle between the electric field and normal vector is 30 degree. Therefore again using the open surface equation, what we will get, the flux is equals to the integration of E dot and dA. So that is EA cos theta. Now the only thing is left is to put the magnitude. This part I have already explained. So now putting the magnitude of electric field is 10. Putting the magnitude of area as 6 meter square, this you have to keep in mind. They are already in the SI unit, they are following the SI system. So no need to change the magnitude, let it be the same. And this time cos theta, we have to put cos 30 degrees simply, and on multiplying we will get this as the answer. So this one will be the flux associated with the entire surface area S. So this is how for different orientations you can compute the magnitude of the flux. Now let us see another one important situation, flux through a cubical surface. Now this is generally being asked where we are having a cube which is placed in a space having its a three-dimensional figure, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. But in this figure what we are noticing, again we have to see the direction of electric field which is along the positive x-axis. This is the direction is fixed. Now the entire cube can be divided, can be assumed it is comprised of 6 faces. So here what we will divide the entire cube into 6 faces. So what first we will take 2 faces. First is the upper face and the down face. So first we will look for the upper face and another one is the down face. So for the upper face, if we will be dealing, its area vector will be pointing along the positive y-axis. So you have to again keep this in mind, direction of the area. Again for the down face, for the downward face, that is A4, this is the DA4 it is represented. So it will be pointing along the minus y-axis, negative y-axis. So upper phase is positive, downward phase is negative y-axis, and direction of electric field is fixed, that is along the x-axis. So again the angle between the electric field and the area vector comes out to be the 90 degree. Angle between x and y-axis is 90 degree. So the flux associated with the topmost and the bottom face, top and bottom face will become equals to the 0. This is what we have to look for it. So here what we find is that field lines passing through the top and bottom surface which are pointing along the positive and negative y-axis are perpendicular to the faces and hence flux through these will be the 0. So here area vector top face and bottom face make an angle of 90 degree with the electric field. So the flux associated with these two figures will be the 0. Now next let us take this is the front portion, and we have to take another is the back portion. So again let us take next two faces. First is the front portion and another one we have to take as the back portion. Now let us see what will be the area vector for the front portion. Here we are noticing the front portion, its area vector will be pointing along the positive z axis. And for the back portion, similarly, if we will go for this direction, it will be pointing along the negative x-axis. So these again are the direction associated with the area planar faces, positive z-axis and negative z-axis for the front and the back portion. Again, what we notice, the angle between electric field and area vector becomes 90 degree. So the flux associated with this front portion and the back portion again becomes 0. So what is our next conclusion for the other two surfaces? Here what we find is the field lines passing through the front and back surface which are pointing along the positive and negative z-axis are perpendicular to the faces, and hence flux contributing will become equals to the 0. Now with four faces we have dealt with. Now the last two faces are, this is suppose the right face and the other one is back portion, it is the left face. Now let us see another last left two faces. First is the right face. So the area vector of the right face, which is represented by dA2, it is pointing along the positive x-axis. Here it is pointing along the positive x-axis. Similarly, the face which is to left of the cubical face, here the area vector will be pointing along the negative x-axis. And here the electric field itself is pointing along the x-axis. Here electric field is also along the x-axis and area vectors are along along x-axis. So let us see what will be the flux associated with the right face. We have to write as the phi r. It will become E dot A, that is equals to E dot A of this time the cos 0 degree. And the cos 0 degree is a certain positive value. And similarly, what will be the flux associated with the left face? It will be the EA cos. This time it will be the 180 degree because electric field is along the positive x-axis and the area vector is along the negative x-axis. So the angle between electric field and area vector for the left surface becomes cos 180 degree, which gives us minus of EA, and here we will get plus of EA. So again, if we will add them, we are going to get the net flux coming out to be the 0. That is what we are having. Field lines passing through the right and left surface which are pointing along positive and negative x-axis. They are parallel to the faces, and through the flux through them, that is flux associated with the right face will be the plus EL square, and flux associated with the left face will be the minus of EL square. On adding them again, what we will notice is that net flux through the cube becomes 0. So whenever